He asked me to pre-commit to signing off on each and one of the forthcoming ACIP recommendations, regardless of whether or not there was scientific evidence. He just wanted blanket approval.
Okay.
And if I could not commit to approval of each and every one of the recommendations that would be forthcoming, I needed to resign.
That was former CDC Director Susan Monterez testifying on Capitol Hill this week, giving her account of the events that led HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to fire her last month. That testimony came just days before Kennedy's vaccine panel voted to change several vaccine recommendations. I am joined now by the CEO of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the former acting director of the CDC, Dr. Richard Besser, to talk about those changes. Before we get to the vaccines, Dr. Besser, what did you take away from Monterez's testimony and account directly contradicting what Bobby Kennedy has said about why she was fired just shortly after she was confirmed, nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed?
Yeah, you know, John, she had told me the same information before she was actually fired. What we saw on display was integrity. That's what integrity looks like. That's what you need to see as the director of CDC. You want someone who has a line that they won't cross, and that line has to be science and truth, because they're so entrusted in maintaining and protecting the health of people here and around the world.
So this CDC panel on vaccines came out at 2 days of rather confusing discussion and some recommendations. Can you explain to us what they changed and what it means for Americans?
Yeah, I mean, this, to someone who's not steeped in public health, this whole conversation and process is really confusing. This advisory committee makes the recommendations that affect what takes place when you see your doctor. I practiced pediatrics for over 30 years, and I looked to the CDC to give me the recommendations that I could then talk to a mom about, you know, as to why we were recommending a vaccine, what the disease was we were trying to prevent, what the risks and benefits were of being exposed to that disease, as well as from the vaccine. What we saw on display Thursday and Friday was chaos. This is a group of people. There are a few people on there who understand vaccines, understand the process, but largely it's a group of people who are steeped in anti-vaccine ideology, who don't understand how to evaluate the key concepts. And we saw them not being exactly sure what they were voting on. And in the end, what they did was they failed to recommend the COVID vaccine to very young children and the elderly, two groups who are at the highest risk of having a bad outcome from COVID. My biggest takeaway as a doctor is that I can't look to the CDC anymore for the trusted information. I'm going to need to look to medical societies and other groups to provide that information. But the tragic thing is that this committee determines whether insurance is going to pay for this for everyone, every child in America. And that is going to cost lives. I
mean, so confusing to Americans of all stripes, but especially people with young children, wondering what to do with their children. Do you listen to the government? Do you listen to expert groups, doctors? What do you listen to? But let me just ask you big picture. Bobby Kennedy came in to office, obviously with a long track record of raising doubts about vaccines, an anti-vaccine crusade he was on. What kind of a lasting impact is he having on the way Americans perceive vaccines and on the health of the country?
Yeah, I mean, Secretary Kennedy was one of the nation's leading anti-vaccine crusaders, and he came in on a mission, and he is moving forward with that mission. He has stocked this committee with so many people who are part of the anti-vaccine movement, who have an agenda. He is instilling mistrust in vaccines. What you want to do is ensure that people have the information when they're seeing their doctor to make an informed choice. And what this process over these 2 days did was it instilled doubt in a lot of people who didn't have doubt. And it's going to lead people who are trying to do the right thing for their families, for their children, to make wrong decisions. It's what he was about from the beginning. It's not what he told Senator Cassidy he was going to do when he was up for confirmation. But he came in, immediately removed the expert committee, one that we all relied on, and brought in people who would move forward his agenda. And he's not done yet. I'm very worried that he's going to bring more people on because some of the votes didn't go the way that he would have liked this week. And that is very, very concerning.
And let's not forget Operation Warp Speed, which created the COVID vaccine, is something Donald Trump has, I think, rightfully pointed to as one of the real major accomplishments from his first term. Dr. Richard Besser, thank you for helping us understand what went down this week. Really appreciate your time.